Because today is Thursday, April 11th. We're here for the Public Safety Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Haggett. Here. Alderperson Vanslo.
Here.
Alderperson Yaku.
Here. All right, now we have the minutes of the regular meeting from last month. Do we have a motion to approve it?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we also have the special meeting minutes that need to be approved. Do we have a motion for approval?
Move to. Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, number 4 on our agenda is consider request to allow chickens. We're just going to start off the bat. So, Marty, do you want to talk first?
We both have got an email from Deb and Willie from a group called Hudson Urban Chickens. It's a group of citizens requesting permission to have chickens in the city of Hudson, and which would require us to change Hudson City Code 99-8C to make an exemption for chickens under that statute, which is the animal ordinance or code. I believe there are people here from Hudson Urban Chickens who would like to come up and speak. So.
Okay, well, who all is here for the chickens? Who all wants to speak on the chickens? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you could, we'll hear them all. If it starts to get long-winded, we might shorten the people behind you. So be respectful of those that you are going to pay it forward. So whoever would like to start can step up to the podium.
I wrote it down, so bear with me.
If you could just, when you come to the podium, please state your name and where you live, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jen Harriet. I live at 621 Diamond Drive. Chances are you've probably seen my name in your inbox in the past few weeks. My husband and I moved to Hudson almost 4 years ago. Last year, we started our first garden in the backyard. Not only did we love all the fresh organic produce, but our kids loved growing their own food and going out every day to pick that evening's salad fixings or side dishes. We would love to have the opportunity to raise hens in our backyard, not only for the fresh organic eggs, but to also teach our children that eggs do not just come from the grocery store. We could show them firsthand how grass clippings, bugs, weeds, and kitchen scraps fed to chickens are turned into those delicious eggs. They would also see how straw bedding and waste from the chickens will be composted and added back into our garden soil, that in turn will produce the fruits and vegetables we love to grow all summer. Instead of just hearing the phrase, reduce, reuse, recycle, they would actually experience it. I urge you to adopt a policy to allow backyard chickens to enhance the community and demonstrate a commitment to our children and green living. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Anyone? I had like 6 hands go up, so. Don't be a chicken.
Hi, I'm Heidi Halverson, and I live at 1027 Pitt Street here in Hudson. Leif is my husband. I have 4 children. 3 of them are here tonight. You'll hear from one, and I have a letter from another one. I support this proposed change in the city livestock ordinance. I think it's time for the city of Hudson to join other progressive communities and allow citizens like myself and my family to keep a few hens and nice, clean coops in our yards. It's progressive, but in another sense, I also think it's a little step back in time, because I was raised on a dairy farm, not far from here, and green living and clean eating were not terms that we used back then, but that's sure how we lived. And I left the farm, but I brought many of my environmental sensibilities with me here to the city, and I've passed them on to my kids. So if you visit our house on Pitt Street, you'll see a large garden. We grow and preserve a large quantity of food and every year. My husband is a home brewer. He's a baker. He roasts coffee each week at home. If we could keep a few chickens of our own, it would help us become more efficient and green, as hens would eat our garden scraps, help naturally control pests in the yard, and reward us with glorious eggs for my family to eat. And for my kids, it would be a full circle education for them to be able to raise chicks, learn to feed and care for them on a daily basis, and show them at the fair, because my kids are very active in St. Croix County 4-H program, and they envy other kids that live north of us that can keep some hens in their yard. So I can tell you, if we had the opportunity to keep hens, they'd be very well cared for, housed in an attractive coop, and we take a lot of pride in our home and our yard, and we really value our neighbors too. So we know a few hens in a coop would be an attractive addition to our property. So a change in this ordinance makes sense, and we hope that you'll support this to move forward. And the other thing I just want to do, I have a letter from my son August. He's 11, and he didn't want to speak today, but he wrote a letter
Thank you.
to give his perspective.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Do you want me to read it?
If you'd like to read it, go ahead. Or maybe August changed his mind. You want to read it?
Change your mind? No?
You sure? You can be on TV. No?
All right.
All right.
I'll read it for him. Dear members of the Safety Committee, my name is August Halverson, and I am 11 years old. My family and I have been dreaming of having chickens for many years. There are so many reasons that support having hens in people's backyards. Here are some of them. First, hens do not make a lot of noise. They only 1 minute a day to let people know that they laid an egg. Also, people would learn to eat healthier because the eggs are so good for you. Kids would become more responsible by taking care of the chickens. I want chickens because I could show them at the fair, and I love eggs. I hope you will agree with my point. August Halverson, 5th grade Willow River Elementary student and Hudson Trailblazer 4-H member.
Thank you, August. That's a nice letter. Who's next? Oh,
Hi, good evening. My name is Leif Halverson, 1027 Pitt Street. And Rich, this will be a repeat for you. I did send you this letter, and I'm just going to read it again, so I apologize for that. But the question before the Safety Committee allowing for the keeping of backyard urban chickens, it should entail nothing more than a simple rewording of the current ordinance. Chickens are domesticated birds, not livestock. Thus, an easy resolution to allow to pass. In researching the subject, one learns that the benefits to be gleaned from keeping chickens far outweigh any of the perceived negative impacts, and perception is really the bottom line surrounding this issue. The two main detractors presented with respect to raising chickens are noise and smell, both of which are not only false misconceptions, but are significantly less of an issue when compared to the noise and waste produced by dogs within the city limits. Dogs, by the way, have the additional notoriety of being the potential for biting and seriously wounding a person. When was the last time you heard of a chicken attack? The statistically small numbers of people actually keeping urban chickens are naturally determined to keep their animals healthy by maintaining a clean and vermin-proof enclosure. Yes, thousands of stressed birds confined to factory pens are noisy and smell bad. However, 6 laying hens kept as pets in a home environment are not only quiet, but also offer myriad opportunity for education. As consumers, we continue to be further distanced from our food sources, and the simple process of keeping chickens provides those who so choose a meaningful connection to what is placed on their table. And I believe that you have a tremendous opportunity here to act on this effort to enhance and improve our community, providing further benefit to those who live in the city of Hudson. Thank you for your service and consideration.
Hi, I'm Chloe Halverson. I am a freshman at Hudson High School. I live at 1027 Pitt Street. I would just like to talk a little bit more about how having chickens would be very beneficial to kids in 4-H. I have been in 4-H for 9 years. I'm a part of the Hudson Trailblazers 4-H Club. And being able to show chickens at the fair would be a very, very great thing for a lot of kids in our city who are not able to because of the ordinance. Because there's a lot of really great things that come with showing chickens at the fair. I know a lot of kids who would like to be part of the project, but they can't because of the ordinance. And my family was one who wanted to, but we couldn't. And showing an animal at the fair is one really very exciting part about having chickens, and it's very beneficial for the kids. The kids get to learn how to care for the animal, be responsible, and they learn a lot about the animal itself. I know a lot about this because I show llamas at the fair. I have to go out and train them at a different farm in Hammond, but I've learned so much about the animals, and I've just become a lot more responsible from the experience. And showing at the fair is just a lot of fun, and I know all kids who have that experience get a lot out of it. And I've just noticed a lot. There is a chicken project in my club, and I've noticed a lot of the kids who are part of this project just having a lot of fun with their chickens. They'll bring them in and just have them in the meetings for their demonstrations, and it's just really cool to see them with their chickens because they just really love their chickens. And so, yes, I think it'd be very important for a lot of the kids who can't have chickens to be able to have that opportunity to be a part of that project in our club. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
My name is Mila Otterson. I have nothing prepared, but I just wanted to come up and state that I live at 603 6th Street North. I'm actually a North Hudson resident, and me and my family have 6 laying hens that we raise in our backyard. I'm very much in support of Hudson changing the ordinance. We've had nothing but great experiences with it since we've started about a year ago. We got permission from all of our neighbors. In fact, now half of our neighbors have forgotten that we even have them. And really, they only remember when we bring them eggs in a neighborly fashion. So it's all the misconceptions that you hear about having chickens are completely false. As far as noise goes, roosters are the primary concern there, and I believe Hudson Urban Chickens is really only asking for laying hens up to 5 of them. So I'm just here today to support their efforts, and I just to say that I'm in support of it as well.
Thank you. Anybody else?
My name is Tyanka Kitsis. I live at 522 Locust Street. I just want to say I agree with everyone else here. They have amazing facts and information, and thank you, Mrs. Harriet, for starting this. It's something that we've always wanted to do for a long time as a family, but have just never really acted on it. My parents live in the township. They live off of Wirt Road, so they actually are able to have chickens. We're incubating some eggs right now, which is really exciting, but it's a bummer that we can't have them at our house. So hopefully this will encourage you guys to kind of give it all a second look and change the ordinance. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hey, Marty Dalkey, 813 12th Street. Just everybody said everything great. Just wanted to add one more name to the record that, yeah, it's a good idea. I'd like to support it. I had chickens growing up, and it was a great experience, and we'd just like to keep them as pets. So.
Thank you. Anybody else?
All right, I'll put my name. My name is Ramona Robinson O'Brien, and we just bought a house last week at 1212 7th Street, and we would just be so happy. I was so happy to hear about this effort, and I'm in great support of it, and my 2 children would just think that my dream came true. I want it probably more than they do right now, but that my daughter would enjoy it so much, raising chickens. And we've had gardens for years, and they've just gotten so much out of that, so this would add to their experience of growing up. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Who would like to speak first? I feel like John would like to speak first.
I love chickens. I have no problem with chickens. My mom grew up on a farm, and I'm familiar with the dairy concept and chickens. Keeping it to laying hens, not having roosters. I noticed that no slaughtering of chickens. So these are pretty much a laying and a showing kind of scenario, more like a pet environment. And given everything else I've read, that it's fairly common to have chickens. Many, Bayport, Afton, Minneapolis, Stillwater, North Hudson. We're not breaking any new ground here and setting up to have chickens. And considering everyone, the whole resurgence of gardening and producing food at home, I just think it's a good idea, and I think it'd be a benefit to Hudson, frankly.
Thank you.
I think it's a separation of what the expectations of people are when they move into communities. And if you move into an urban community, you have a set of expectations which you believe are true, and when you move into a rural community, you have a set of expectations which you also expect. And I think the ordinances were put in years ago because of those expectations of people making choices as to where they want to live. And I don't know that I want to start blending urban and rural at this point in time. Thanks to the people here who are in support of it, and I totally appreciate your interest in it. If I look at the numbers, we're talking about less than 1% of the people in these cities who are interested in doing this. So it's not an overwhelming type of need for the community. You've got 3,000 people in Athens with 2 permits, 4,300 in Prescott with 1 permit. I'm just saying that it kind of points out the fact that people want to keep the urban and the rural separate. There's also, in my mind, an easy solution to this, because within a mile of the city, you can go to any farm you want to and put a chicken coop up. You can work with a farmer. I'm sure they'd let you have space, and you can raise your chickens and get your eggs.
I was going to make that point as well, that someone told me that you can do that.
Yeah, and you can bring your kids out to the farm, and you not only have the chicken experience, but you'll have a total farming experience, I'm sure. So it even broadens the experience that people are looking for. So from my standpoint, I would not be in support of putting a change to the ordinances in the city.
Well, and for me, just being the chair of safety and thinking about resources that we have, that my biggest concern, besides mixing urban and rural, which was a concern of mine as well, is resources. We struggle as it is to handle dog licensing even. I mean, we have guaranteed more dogs in the city of Hudson than we have licensed. So to get permits for chickens, to me, is going to be, who's going to patrol that? And I have a problem with. I have a problem with, I appreciate that those of you here who would say, you know, your chicken coops would be clean, and I bet you're right, but we can't guarantee that for the rest of the city, and I surely wouldn't want to be living next to someone who left a dirty chicken coop, because I did that at one time in my life, and it's not fun if the chicken coop is not kept clean. So that's a concern of mine, that, you know, we have this, that we're going to start having neighbor disputes, and the city really doesn't want to be a partner in that. And my other problem is, I know that you say chickens are domesticated, but I don't know if I'd have a chicken in my house hanging out, you know. But I'd be worried about fox, dogs. You know, what if the neighbor's dog eats the chicken next door? What does that mean? You know, there's a lot of other things to think about. My biggest concern would be slaughtering. I know that it's not, the ordinance says we won't slaughter, but it doesn't mean that you won't slaughter. I mean, how do we patrol that? I just think there's concerns there where I understand that we have ordinances and rules we're supposed to follow, but let's be real, they're not followed, and the only way we know is if you get caught. So.
Well, I have a couple of things to add. Number one, first, people, although they might want to live in an urban or rural setting, land availability is not that available. Number one, you can't necessarily just move to a farm because it's not that cheap. Backyard gardening and sustaining yourself with food and small animals that can produce actual eggs that we buy in the store, to me, is actually saving energy and resources. So to have the ability to have your own food production at your own house, to me, is actually better for your community if you think about it. From an enforcement standpoint, Jen was kind enough to provide me with an email from the animal control lady who has had, no complaints about chickens, or the same person from all the areas that have chickens.
Yep. We all got that email, but the thing is that she's not the city of Hudson's animal control.
I do understand that. My point is, I don't think...
The city would need a full-time person to
handle... Are you guys even willing to try it for a year? You're just going to flat out say, no, we can't have chickens?
We're having a discussion.
I know, I'm just...
You just made a very serious assumption there, John.
It's not an assumption, Mary.
Here's my thing. I sent an email out to my entire district, and I have a lot of people in my district, and I've got a lot of mixed responses. Some people would want them, some people don't. One thing that was said to me is, well, what does our covenants do? Well, so we have a part of the city which lives in areas where they have covenants that they have to follow. So you got whole areas of the city that can't even have chickens, for example. So, you know, you put an ordinance in place that it's not even able to be executed in the entire city too, and people, you know, don't want to see.
That's true with all covenants, though. Neighborhoods
I
like
know
that. You know,
but
I can have Christmas
you know,
lights and some people can't. You know, I can put the Grinch in my yard and,
yeah,
you know,
chickens.
they can't.
So I'm just saying that, you know, that somebody had a problem with that is what I'm saying. That was another point that was made to me. But I'm kind of with Rich on the rural versus urban. You know, I know what it's like to get fresh eggs from chickens. I was in the Peace Corps. That's how I got my eggs, from the chicken. I was woken up from the rooster. So we're not, you know, but yeah.
I think we should give it a try. I mean, what's the harm? Why don't we just try it for a year? And if we run into all kinds of millions of problems, why don't we just flat out say it's not going to work? But we'll never know unless we try. And I can't believe that all these other communities can successfully have chicken ordinances, yet somehow we're just going to say we don't want to do it. So, and I've looked through and I've done my own homework. There's lots of places that allow chickens. Mm-hmm. So
what if they lay egg and you're gone for the weekend and, you know, that doesn't make sense at all, what I'm about to say. So what if the 5 hens become 8 hens? Who's gonna monitor that? How do you control all the little things that we want to put in place? Who's gonna walk around and say,
Who settles?
you got 8 hens over there? You know, I mean, you can't.
And we know not all neighbors are as friendly as some, and if you get into a neighborly dispute, then who's going to resolve the neighborly dispute? You know, we have neighbors already who complain about dogs, and then the police department gets involved in trying to settle these neighborly disputes because
Right.
they don't like the dog running around their yard, or it gets loose, or it barks too often. You know, and all of a sudden we've got a neighborly dispute which we're using police hours to try to patrol.
there are really almost no documented cases of chicken neighbor disputes that I was able to find. They stay in a coop, and most of if we can even put in the ordinance that even grazing could be contained also, so that they're not really able to go anywhere. They pretty much are confined to space.
What difference, John, does it make if you travel about a mile down the street and go to a farmer and say, can I rent a little piece of property here, or can I just have a little piece of property, put my coop on it, and raise some hens and get eggs from them?
Yeah, like the garden, like renting it from the plot by the hospitals where people rent and plant vegetables and at the
The
hospital.
difference is it's not at my house, therefore I have to go somewhere to take care of my chickens, and then, you know, it's just like my garden. I don't want to go, you know, if I don't have to tend the garden somewhere else, then I would rather do it in my own yard. I guess I'm at a point here where this is a pretty simple thing. I'm proposing, I would like to make a motion to approve the chicken ordinance for 1 year as a test program to see if it would actually work in the city of Hudson.
You have a second? Anybody? No? You're not? I'm not? I'll die. Sorry. Do you have a motion? Or am I making a motion? Of course I can make the motion. I will make the motion to deny the request to allow chickens in the city of Hudson.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nope.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Number 5 on the agenda is consider request for all-way stop on St. Croix Street and 11th Street. Is somebody here for that request? St. Croix and 11th.
Thank you, John. You're welcome.
Thanks, John.
There was a lady, I did talk to the lady who lived there, she was gonna try to get here.
Oh, that's right, we were gonna push her back because she was in gymnastics?
Yeah.
So let's push that back. That's right. Let's wait a little bit. She said about 6:30 she'd try and get here. So let's skip 5, please, and go to 6. Consider request for pedal cabs and pedal tours. Marty, you want to talk on that? See, if you had paper, you wouldn't have to be scanning through that like that.
Wouldn't have killed a tree.
And use 400 gallons of water.
And this must be,
I'm Sean Gary.
Yep.
I live at 1428 Hazel Court. I am interested in running a pedal cab business, which is a full-on pedal taxi, like a bicycle taxi. If anybody wants to take a look outside, it is parked right out front.
I saw it. It's nice.
Yeah, and it has, sorry I didn't have anything prepared. Just kind of going from the hip on this. It has, what's that called? Disc brakes underneath, which are powered by a hydraulic set rather than just the pull chain. And on the front side, it has the pull chain brakes. It's set up to take 500 pounds of passengers and a 250-pound driver. It's so far, I don't know if you've seen the news stories about Excelsior, Minneapolis, and St. Paul, but there's Twin Town Pedicab is running out there, and they have all the ordinances and everything else worked out. And I am on a talking basis with them about getting more information if anything is needed.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is it going to be just a pedicab, or is it going to be a tavern?
This would just be a pedicab for me.
Just a pedicab?
Yes.
Gentlemen.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's two informations, but I just wanted to clarify.
Well, they can't have.
I know they can't, which is why I wanted to clarify before we continued with some of the stuff. So go ahead. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, yeah. Basically, it would just be a taxi service.
Okay.
I'd probably be running mostly during the day for like events and stuff like that for 4th of July. And then also later at night for like getting people home after bar close and stuff like that.
Okay.
And just so everybody knows, like it has turn signals, brake lights. I do have running lights on the front and back. I have 2 sets of 3 headlight blocks and a blinking light on the front side. And there's also 2 flasher lights that I put on the back side as well, and ground lighting, so you can see me in kind of an omnidirectional way.
So Marty, how does this affect? Remember, was it 2 years ago when we were dealing with not the electric car? Wasn't it an electric car? Or?
Electric car.
We had
to adopt an ordinance to allow that, but that was under state statutes.
Right. So how does this affect him on it's a bicycle, I suppose, on city streets?
It's basically considered a bicycle, and my recommendation to the council would be to look at, if we're going, obviously this is going to be happening, is to try to regulate it like the city of Madison does have a pedal cab license where they have to be checked out. They have to apply for a permit. That way you can make the requirements if they're going to be doing this to, especially if he's going to run this as a business and charge people money for it. We want to so we want to be able to regulate who's doing it, what their equipment is supposed to be up to specs and codes. I did pass this on to Catherine to take a look at. She did look at the one from Madison. She thought that was a pretty good ordinance as well. But it would be something we'd have to sit down and take a look at getting put together.
So doing that will I'm assuming you would like to work this summer.
Oh, absolutely.
So how?
Well, right now there is no restriction stopping him from doing it.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
What my recommendation is to the city council is to get into regulating this and try to work on getting an ordinance in place.
So did you want us to? I mean, how would you like to handle the situation?
Right now there's nothing that can stop him from doing it.
Okay.
He's on the state streets as long as he's got the required lighting and so forth, like a bike. There's nothing I can do to stop him.
So then when we get an ordinance in play, you just have to meet the ordinance to continue.
You'd have to meet the requirements for the ordinance, especially if he's going to be running a business where he's going to be charging money for it. It'd be like our taxi cab licenses.
Are you planning to provide service throughout the city of Hudson, or are you looking at a specific area within the city of Hudson?
I
don't know
would.
if you want to be taking people from 1st Street on Vine all the way up to 9th Street. It might be a little bit of a
I would be breathing hard, but I could do it. Just as an experiment, I've had a few friends out, and we've just kind of scooted around town. I have brought my friends up Cooley and 3rd Street right up here. It's a lot of work, but I can do it. So I would like to essentially be like a full-scale and fully operational taxi cab.
Okay.
I would skip 3rd Street if I were you.
Yeah, when a car came by, I
dangerous.
learned that.
You're going to make it all the way up to Red Cedar Canyon where I live?
Where-
All the way up behind the hospital?
I can do that, yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't live too far from there myself, so.
Thoughts?
There's another gentleman with that other business. Do you want to listen to him? Because I would imagine this would fall into that same category.
Well, okay.
Because he could still run his business
As long as it's not a
Correct.
tavern, as long as it's
Correct.
just a...
Correct.
Okay, sure, let's do it together, yeah.
That way you can control both.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, members, my name is Bill Booth. I live 7 months in the city of Woodbury, and I live 5 months on my boat in the city of Stillwater. So far this year, I've been living in Woodbury because the boat isn't in the water. We got a little problem with water. I heard about the fact that you were going to be discussing both pedal cabs and pedal tours, and before you, there's some information that you can read at your leisure. I'm here on behalf of the owner, Pat Wolf, Patricia. And you may see on here that it's Joseph Wolf Brewing Company banner. That was her great-grandfather who brewed beer in Stillwater back in the 1800s. And if you're familiar at all with Stillwater, when you come in on the south end of town, on the left-hand side is Luna Rosa. He was the one that carved out those caves. She is going to be brewing Wolf beer. She's an entrepreneur. However, and I want to underscore this, the bike is not conducive to, nor do we demand that people bring on beer or wine. The state of Minnesota basically says that she can't even sell her own beer on there. And we have had teenage groups. We've had, I hope they don't mind this, the nuns from St. Mike's. We're on the tour. It took me a while to convince the ladies to come on board. We've had knitting groups. She has set up with magicians to come on board.
Cool.
There's also people that are interested in the history tour of downtown Stillwater. We went through 3 city council meetings with the city of Stillwater, and yeah, they had some questions and they put some restrictions on us. Main Street in Stillwater during the prime hours is something that we try and stay off of to the best degree we can. There are also some vicious hills in Stillwater that we don't penetrate. We're basically downtown. Yes, there are 10 people that pedal, and when they start off, it's how fast can they go? And within 3 minutes, they're yelling at me to hit the accelerator because there is an electric assist motor that we have. 3 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour, maybe. We had a Woodbury police officer that came down and went on the tour with us. He said there's no problems. We have the pedal bike that Sean was talking about was in Stillwater. We also have the horse and carriage that's in Stillwater. And there now is a permit that has been passed, I believe, by the Stillwater Council to have bikes that will be a great asset when they get the Browns Creek Trail in. I think that it could be great for the city. I think that it's probably step one for you to hear about it. We would certainly like to get your counsel as to, Chief, where you think we should stay off of and where we should go. I don't know the city that well. We did a lot of boating out here and we used to come into town. But there are some areas that would seem to me to be very conducive to this. It is accepted very well by all ages. And again, I impress upon you the fact that alcohol is not something that we push, if they do come on board and they're adults in the city of Stillwater where it's been approved, we tell them that behavior is going to be gentlemen and ladies, or we're going to warn you the first time, and the second time we hit 911. We haven't had that problem. So I would ask you to consider it for step one. How do we get it over here? It's 2,400 pounds. I can't pick it up, and we can't pedal it over here. We've talked to Stillwater Towing, and for a fee, they'll bring it over and they'll take it back home at night, whether it be weekends or whatever it would happen to be. So there are a lot of questions that I believe need to be addressed, but I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of what it was and what it wasn't.
You'd bring it in and out the same day. You wouldn't store it in Hudson.
I'm sorry?
You would bring it in the morning and out in the evening.
Yeah. And what time? I don't know, 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock, or noon until 7, or whatever it happens to be. And by the way, it is, I want to use the word license, but there is no license for that. We don't have a Minnesota State driver's license plate on it, but we are permitted by the city, and we have all the lights, the turn signals, the brakes, the horn, etc.
So how, with Wisconsin having a law against having alcohol with these tours, how is that gonna, I mean, I'm looking at your thing, your, like, I like this, by the way. I'm looking at it, and it's essentially is, you know, it looks like it's made for people to have alcohol on board.
Well, you know, Miss Pat said, maybe I put the wrong name on it, and I said, I don't think so. You know, because we have experienced just a ton of people who want to come down, and they've seen it in St. Paul, they've seen it in Grand Avenue, they've seen it in Minneapolis. In fact, one of the city council members, I won't mention his name, but when we were going through our final hearing, he said, I wouldn't allow this in my city. I can't vote for that. He said, you know, my kid was on one in Minneapolis. They were barfing and they were throwing stuff, they were falling off. And he looked out at Chief Ganaway and he said, Chief, what do you think about this? Ganaway looked up and said, I'd vote for it. So the council member said, oh, well, I'll make the motion then. You know, alcohol is not the driving force. It's the publicity that she will get off this as it relates to her brewing the beer in town.
I don't have a problem with it. My concern was, because you said you don't encourage alcohol to be on board, but it's just basically not going to be allowed in Wisconsin, obviously.
And we would accept that totally, completely. There's no problems with that whatsoever.
Okay.
People call or email to set up, you know, and you tell them right up front what the rules and the regulations have to be.
Marty?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, as long as they're obeying the traffic laws and don't have any open intoxicants on the vehicle, like, you know, they're going to be able to drive downtown. We allow bikes. We don't want bikes on the sidewalks downtown. Obviously, we tell them to stay on the street. So
I don't know if you can get that on the sidewalk.
So
no,
do we?
We break the.
So we need to have an ordinance put together for this as well.
Well, what I was thinking is that if we had a pedal cab license and it coordinated all this in, because if you're going to have a pedal cab license to regulate the operator of the pedal cab, well, that would also apply to the operator who's driving this vehicle, because the patrons that are there are just the motor, basically, because there is a guy driving. Obviously, you don't have your customers driving this thing around. It's the
It's like
you're looking at
the driver right there.
Like another cab. It's just that it's much larger than the pedal cab versus the.
But they do have these down in Milwaukee.
Yes.
They have had some issues with them in the alcohol, and I know that the council has warned them to stop.
Yes.
But they have been very successful in the city of Milwaukee.
I'm fully aware of that.
And I did talk to Chief Ganaway down there, and he says that they haven't had any issues with these things yet. So.
Okay.
Well, there wouldn't really be a motorized vehicle. It's more of a.
Well, it'd be like electric bike, which is considered, which is allowable under state statutes. So.
We do have one brewery already in town, FYI, for you. Up on the hill.
We're about to have 3.
And there's a couple more coming in here. So we do have some brewers here, just for your information.
But my recommendation for the time being right now is to look at putting an ordinance together.
Okay.
Adoption of the code, probably under taxi cabs.
Okay.
For allowing the pedal cabs or pedal tours or whatever, so that they meet the certain requirements, that you have the lights, that you have the brakes, that you have the,
And they would run it, they are under the same issue as a pedal cab where nothing's stopping them right now from.
Correct.
Okay.
Nothing that I could find in the statutes.
Madam Chair, would it help you all going forward if I were to get a copy down to you of what Stillwater put together?
That'd be great.
That'd be great, yeah.
I'll make sure that send it to.
Just send it to Marty.
To the chief?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I will do that.
Well, let's put on the agenda for next month to get.
Start working on that, or do you want me to start working on it now?
Yeah, I mean, if you get the Stillwater ordinance, and I mean, have a funny feeling that we're gonna have to be similar as far as roadways and.
Right, and that's nice. The one thing about the pedal cab ordinances that I've seen, like in Madison and so forth, you can restrict where they can operate,
right.
What streets they can be on, and what time of days and so forth.
So we'll put it. We're gonna have to work on an ordinance to get that taken care of.
Right.
And then, yeah, I mean, for now, there's really nothing to approve. Just that.
Well, maybe make a recommendation to the council to look at making a change to the ordinance to allow pedal cabs, or to regulate pedal cabs.
Yeah, but do we want to make, we don't want to make that yet until we have the ordinance?
Or don't you want to go to the council and say, we're recommending that there be an ordinance to allow regulation, regulating pedal cabs? That's what I'm saying, to make sure that you have it
Sure.
approved first, and then you can come back with the ordinance.
I'll make a motion that says what the chief just said there, Melanie.
Without the stuttering?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All right.
So basically, you guys can operate right now. We don't have anything against it, but as soon as we get everything in place, I'm sure the chief will give you a call, and we'll have to figure out licensing and permits and.
My only concern about safety is going up and down Second Street at particular times. You know, more for your safety probably than anybody else's, but it gets pretty congested. And unlike Stillwater, this is our main drag downtown here, so it is a state highway. You know, I would try to limit your exposure.
Planters were primarily focused on going down First Street, bringing people down the end of the dike and back, and, you know, trying to find the best solutions, because, I mean, more than anything, I want to stay safe while doing this.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have no interest in being on Second Street unless I'm making a pickup just right there.
And I'm kind of serious about that Third Street Hill thing. I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was thinking these other streets.
I like that.
What? Third Street Hill?
Coming down wouldn't be too bad.
See, it's a scary
I don't mind
hill.
going up it.
So, okay. Good. Thank you, guys.
This will come back up again.
It will come back hopefully at the next will you be
Well-
ready at the next public safety meeting?
Well, we'll
With
start
no-
working on it if the city council approves it at the next meeting, which is
Yes.
22nd.
the 22nd.
Yes.
City council meeting on the 22nd,
Sorry,
which is
the
Monday
20th.
night at 7
It's,
o'clock.
I'm sorry, it's the 20th. The 20th.
20th.
The 20th?
The 20th.
20th.
Yeah, the 20th.
All right, you guys got me the wrong day. All right.
We don't know what month we're in. That's our problem. 20th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go back up to number 5, because I see the guest of honor is here. Consider request for an all-way stop on St. Croix Street and 11th Street. Marty, if you'd like to speak first, please.
We've gotten a request to look at putting in a stop sign at the intersection of 11th and St. Croix Street. We got it from Ms. Robinson, who feels that that intersection is dangerous for both pedestrians and vehicles going up there, and especially with young children riding their bikes in the area. And I believe she's here, would like to address.
Dan, do you want to come up to the podium and just state your name, please, and your address? Thank you. Maddie, you want to be on TV?
I also prepared something, so I'll just hand this out to everyone. Something for your reference, and send it to the council if need be. Good evening. My name is Diane Robinson. This is my daughter, Madeline Robinson. And I want to thank you for hearing our issue tonight. I've written a letter that I think I'll just go through if that's okay. So again, my request is for all-way stop signs at the intersection of St. Croix Street and Bayard Drive. Exactly 1 block from Burton Field in the downtown area of Hudson is the intersection of St. Croix Street and Bayard Drive. It is demarcated by a sign that reads "Dangerous Intersection" as you're coming up the hill, heading south on Bayard Drive. And I've attached a picture of that. That's the very first page, as you can see, as you're coming up Bayard Drive, headed toward that intersection. No stop sign at the top of the hill, but someone did put a sign that marked it as a dangerous intersection. Burton Field has 2 baseball fields, a small playground area, restrooms, and plenty of grassy space for sports. This is from the Hudson Patch. In the winter, Burton Field has a skating rink and warming house. It gets a lot of traffic, namely children on foot and bicycles. And I drove down there last night to take the pictures. And even just on a Wednesday night, there were many kids down there, and one with a bike as small as my daughter would be riding. She just turned 6. Okay, traffic coming up from the hill from Bayer Drive heading south towards the intersection moves fast. There is a speed sign posted there for 25, but because the traffic has traveled such a long distance, if you follow Bayer Drive, they don't have to stop and they don't have to slow down. So the traffic is moving at a pretty fast clip. And also the traffic heading east on St. Croix from the other direction moves fast as well, because if you've driven that, you know that once you make that left curve to go down the hill, down Bayer Drive, you're out of the residential, and then you can speed up, technically, even though the sign is posted, or the speed is posted as 25. So my daughter and I are moving in the condos at the end of St. Croix Street. I've been there several times now in the past couple months, and each time that I've attempted to pull out of the intersection there, heading west on St. Croix Street, I've almost gotten nailed by traffic coming up from Bayer Drive. And the reason why is you can't see the cars coming until they crest the hill. So I've put a couple of photos in here of that as well. I tried to capture it as best I could, but I obviously couldn't sit out there with a video camera all day. So, and the only reason that I didn't get T-boned is because I've been really cautious pulling out, and I've been able to stop quickly when a car comes into sight. So here's my main issue. A child on foot or on a bicycle heading out of this intersection will not be as cautious as I have. Even if they do as they're told and look both ways before crossing, by the time they get to the middle of the street, a car that was not in sight for them at the time they looked would now be on top of them. And God forbid this happens to my child, yours, or anyone else's. And the other thing is, she's less than half my height. So on a bicycle or walking, she doesn't have the sight line that an adult has anyway, so it makes the situation even more dangerous. So I'm recommending or asking that the situation be rectified by installing all-way stop signs at the intersection. I think it's a simple solution that requires a minimal investment of time and money. And once installed, they will not be a source of ongoing cost for the city. And most important, the minimal cost of installing the stop signs here could save a child's life, yours, mine, or another's. I'm a longtime resident and taxpayer of the city of Hudson, 25 years. And I'm respectfully making this request. And if you're thinking of voting no, I would just plead with you that you drive through the area and pull out of that intersection that heads west on St. Croix from the condos, so that you can experience the safety hazard for yourself and pretend like it was your child or grandchild that's on a bicycle, because they have to cross there to get 1 block to Burton Field. Maddie has one thing that she'd like to say too, if she can remember it. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Please put up a stop sign so I don't get hit by a car.
Good job. Thank you so much. If you have any...
I was a sucker for the kids. Oh, very nice. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I was there yesterday and today, just so you know, and checking it out, mostly yesterday. This came up.
This has been
like
up
the
twice
5th time.
since 2009.
Yeah. So.
The dangerous intersection sign got posted.
Well, now, here's what I was thinking. You know, I thought, well, can we put crosswalk signs? Can we put yield signs? And there's that intersection has a stop sign in every corner except for 2 of them. So there's like 5 ways to get down to, you know, where you have, you know what I'm saying? Okay. What's the reason why I think I voted back then not to put a stop sign a couple years ago, but what's the reason that would be holding us back from a stop sign right now? It is pretty dangerous when you think about that. The blind spot there.
Yeah, I used to live down there. I actually lived in those condos when I first moved to town for about 2 or 3 years, and I always remember telling my daughter to stay on the left side because, you know, don't cross over that way. Just don't go over there, you know, because you can't see cars coming. So it's a very difficult intersection man, I sat there for a while myself going, well, I don't know, and drove back and forth. Obviously, it's there to preserve traffic flow at the moment. But
right. So my question, though, was it the winter months with ice built up on that hill that cars slid? We don't have many accidents there, but yes, if I was there when, she's right, the sight line to see a
Well,
girl her size or a little boy her
Originally,
size.
that was County Road A, so, and that was the way everybody went out of town before Carmichael Road continued on the way out that way. Also, St. Croix Street dead-ended at 12th Street. There was no condos back there. It was just a circle and came back around,
Mhm.
so the need for having a stop sign there, or a four-way stop there, sign there, diminished. And then, you know, they've discussed it, you know, we've done our traffic accident reports. We've only had, since 1999, I think we've only had 11 accidents
One, I
that
know
were
we
close to that intersection, and only 3 of those accidents were angled or
Well, and I know we discussed
Sideswipes.
putting rumblers in the road.
well, I think Tom Zulli would have a problem with
Well,
that.
he would. I'm saying it was discussed. I mean, the idea was brought up. It wasn't
Right.
like we're not trying to
Right.
figure out how to slow cars down.
I believe the last public safety meeting we had on this topic is when we ended up putting that dangerous intersection sign in there.
Yeah, I voted for that.
Well, you know, even to re-engineer it, it's a 5-way intersection, there's just no bone, you know, it's a difficult. St. Croix, you know, in many cases, they'll change how the roads come in for, you know, to be more perpendicular, but 11th Street's still there, so.
Rich, thoughts?
Yeah, I certainly am all for protecting the citizens of Hudson and all of the safety issues. But when I look at the history of this from 1999 to 2013 and see that we've actually only had 11 occurrences of accidents, it's less than 1 a year. The danger doesn't appear to be documented in those 11 accidents. So I don't feel real need for taking some action up there. You know, certainly there has to be education for people, you know, in dangerous areas to be careful, and as John said, you know, maybe not using that intersection, using a different way to get there is an option. Yeah,
Well, except for the condos, they don't have a choice. Those condos have to cross that intersection.
I don't know, John said he was telling his children to use it.
Yeah, but in a car, you actually have to drive across
car, you
that.
have to.
And I did notice that too, it was hard to get out, because people are going, they gotta be going 40 miles an hour coming up that hill. That's part of the problem.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah, the speed is.
This is, and I know we've put the speed trailer out there. Here's my thought. I mean, I get what you're saying, Rich. I totally do. My concern is the stop sign on the hill, but you know we have them on other hills. But I think we've tried. I mean, I know we have minimal accidents, but I think cars are more easily seen than little kids. You know, and I think maybe we have been lucky to not have someone hit there. And I think maybe we should consider at least seeing how the traffic flows with stop signs there. I don't know, I mean, it does meet part of the stop sign policy. It's not like we're not meeting the policy at all.
Well, and you know, you've come a long way down here, and I go this way a lot because I go to.
When it's become more populated, there's not, you know, since the 99, I mean, really, there's been growth down there, and I understand that the accidents haven't projected that, but, you know, that's, I am kind of worried that we've been lucky so far as someone getting hit, or there has been growth in that area. I don't know, it's just my gut's telling me that maybe we should give this we looked at it once, we put up that sign, we've, you know, tried to figure out other ways, maybe it's time to just stop the traffic.
Well, the turning point for me is the unrestricted travel and the speed. I'll just go there again. If this is coming through a neighborhood and people are going 25, maybe 30 miles an hour, it's not that hard
Right.
to slow down. But, you know, I even catch myself because the 35 is out here. This is 25, but you're still kind of moving along at a pretty good clip. So I guess that's my main concern is the speed coming up the hill. So are you recommending, are you thinking about a stop sign then, or?
Well, a yield sign is not going to do
No.
anything. A yield sign could possibly be put on the other street that's not marked.
You put in a roundabout.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking about putting 2 more stop signs in and making it a 5-way stop.
I've
So
never heard of a
traffic-
5-way stop in my life. But,
So
well, what if,
traffic going out of town would have to stop and then go down, take a left and go down the hill.
Yeah, so, well, here's a question. The stop sign that's coming from the condos, if we put a stop sign on Bear Road, do we need that stop sign coming out of the condos?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to go through it in my head, because I don't have a, picture memory.
Can we reduce the speed limit on Bear Road coming up into the?
It's 25, isn't
Already
it?
is posted
It's
25.
25, right?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't-
Nobody
I thought it was
listens to it.
35. I thought it was 35.
No.
It's 35 just before
Strawberry.
you get to,
before the city limits. At the city limits, it
Boulder
goes
Court.
to
Boulder Court.
It hits
Before you
city
get to
limits,
Boulder
yeah.
Court, it drops down to 25.
in the township all the way from Sherman.
Right, and then it hits
Yep.
25 when we hit the city.
limits.
So, I mean, I don't know if a yield sign would work on that other street, or if that's just a waste of time, on the one street, I can't remember the name of the street that's coming in on.
Well,
That's-
would just
that's not-
one coming up Bear Drive be enough?
That's what I'm asking, is to just put a stop sign up Bear Drive. We don't necessarily have to have it all 5 intersections, all 5 streets.
Because going out, you're already going slow. I mean, you're obviously going by a park and you're not.
What's the other street that?
That one street going,
St. Croix? Is it St. Croix?
north
St. Croix is the
is
one that's
almost
going
an
out.
alley going up in there.
It's
Right.
the dead end of 11th Street, basically. what it
That's kind of where, I think that's what I was thinking. And that doesn't
So
have a
you
stop
got,
sign
you
on it.
got 11th Street, you
Mhm.
got St. Croix on both sides, you got this condo street.
So
11th Street does have a stop.
So what's the two other street that doesn't have a stop sign?
There.
St.
Croix.
Croix.
St.
St.
Croix
Croix
going
and
east.
Bear. St. Croix going
St. Croix
east.
doesn't have anything going down or.
Do we need St. Croix, a stop sign at St. Croix going east? Or can we just put one on Bear going up the hill? Because that's really where the blind spot is. You can see everything going down. You can't see coming up. I just went up it today.
I'm
By-
not so sure you're correct. Once you stop at that incline, you'd have to go out and look at it. Once you stop at the incline, and you start looking what's coming down St. Croix, you might have a little more trouble if I'm trying to get to a left.
So you think a stop sign should be on?
Both ways. You're gonna do.
Yeah, because if you're going southbound on 11th from there, I see what Tim's saying.
Okay.
yeah, nobody's gonna stop. It'd be kind of
Yeah.
gravity check
Yeah,
there.
it might be a challenge.
You know what, it meets stop sign policy. I'm gonna make a motion to put stop signs on an all-way stop intersection at 11th and St. Croix.
I'll second it.
So unlike me, isn't it?
What are you thinking, Marty?
Well,
He's thinking-
I'm thinking
he's
if you're
thinking
gonna put a
he can't believe I
stop
just
sign
made
in there
that
all the way
motion.
around, that you review it in a few months. Because
Yes.
I'm thinking of traffic in the air, especially in the morning, with a lot of kids go up that street. They're either gonna blow those stop signs, or we're gonna have traffic gonna start backing up on Bear Drive. And then in the afternoon, when everybody's leaving and going home, how much traffic's gonna back up on St. Croix Street? Because now you've got Burton Field at 10th and 9th Street right there, people parking cars on both sides who are in there for ball games. Now you're gonna have traffic backing up there as well. I'm just saying, you probably wanna review that.
Let's review it in a few months. That's fine. I think let's go through the summer months with it and see
They
how it
can,
goes.
They can put those signs up,
We're gonna
section, traffic change ahead.
We're gonna
with the
have,
flags.
we can have,
And-
exactly, we're gonna have the red flags up, and I would rather just err on the side of caution on this one and see how it works. I know what you're saying, but, I mean, if we have, that area of town is just, the configuration is there's never ever a really perfect solution, for situations like that in that area of town. And I just think that maybe sometimes erring on the side of caution is a little safer, especially because it is minimal cost. So,
The only problem might be in wintertime, if we do it through the summer, it would be okay, but wintertime, you'd have to make sure they have that ice and.
I know, that's
sand
what I'm concerned
coming
about, the
up
hill
other
and the
way, but
sliding.
In the summer, you'll be all right. So 9 months out of the year.
Don't they take care of that already now? Don't you ice that? Or de-ice that hill?
Public Works is pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we
I
have
mean, I
other
live
steep
by,
hills.
I
I
have a
mean,
stoplight right now on Vine Street there. That's pretty steep.
yeah, there's lots of slippery areas.
Well, they get the downtown on 35 right away, so they get that one. as well.
Anyways, okay, so we got a motion made. So I'll amend my motion to have it be reviewed, to bring back to the September public safety agenda. How's that?
You're gonna miss some of your school traffic time. That's the only
Make it
thing I was
October.
thinking.
October public safety agenda.
Kids will be back in school then.
Yes, and then we'll see how the traffic flow is with that. So bring it back. So my motion will be to make it an all-way stop to be revisited and reviewed on the October public safety agenda.
Yeah,
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thanks very much, Chairwoman, for making the motion and for the second. I just want to say that I lived on Cooley Road for about 10 years before they put the stoplight as you're going up Cooley Road Hill, and that was always the issue there, is they didn't want to put in a traffic light there because the issue was they were afraid that the traffic would back up in the winter and the ice would cause a problem. They put the light in and there's never been a problem. So I understand your concerns, but I think it's already been proven, even for Cooley Road, which is tighter, Cooley Road Hill going up by Taco John's, it's a tighter hill and it's steeper, and there's been no problems.
Oh, Vine and Second is another.
No,
I mean, you're like a car length in between the cars on Vine and Second, just so you don't get hit. So, okay, well, motion's made and it's been a second. Do we have any other discussion, Rich?
Nope.
Rich is frustrated. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right. Motion passes 2-1. It is not finished yet. It still has to go to council. So I would suggest that you come on the 20th. Yeah, on the 20th for council, because it more than likely won't be on consent. It's probably going to be discussed. All right? Thank you. Okay. I know, they're all over. Okay, consider request, all right. Do we have someone here for the traffic light on O'Keefe? Okay, you are. So we have someone here for all these. Okay. So we'll continue in order then. Consider request to install traffic light on Crestview Drive and O'Keefe Road.
Well, I'd actually, for O'Keefe Road, my first proposal was just to lower the speed limit. I live on 1221 Namakagon Loop, so my home backs up to that. And actually the cemetery is basically what I view from my backyard. We've lived here since 2009, and I absolutely love the area. We have issues with traffic coming out of the back way out of Walmart. They shoot through Webster, which is that street that connects by Fleet Farm there. A lot of times we'll be coming down O'Keefe and people will dart across, or people are flying too fast down O'Keefe Road for us to pull out safely. Like, I've even gone to turn in front of somebody going 35, which I should have plenty of time, and it's just really dangerous. Also, when you go to pull out from O'Keefe onto the frontage road, see, I'm not gonna have all the roads down here. That's a very dangerous intersection at Holiday there, to try to take a left-hand turn out. The right-hand turn is fine. I mean, you can usually turn into the close lane and it's not an issue, but it can be very dangerous at that intersection. So I guess I think the stoplight obviously is going to be very expensive, and I thought was maybe kind of unrealistic, but then you'd mentioned that you're putting one in by Wendy's because you're developing on the
Walmart.
other side, or I'm sorry, but at Walmart, but it's right there at that intersection. And I just thought you already have the one right by County Market there. And I was just thinking that it would make more sense to just complete the median and make people turning out of there have to make a right-hand turn to leave instead of putting it in there and maybe moving it down, just because it is a really dangerous intersection by Walmart and everything. And I think all you're going to do is, if people don't want to hit the stoplight leaving Walmart, they're just now going to take a left down Webster and cut up, and so they can dart out into traffic whenever they want, instead of waiting the minute that the stoplight takes and safely going out into the intersection. Because right now with my daughter, I take a right on O'Keefe, and I take a left on Webster, and I take a right on Industrial, and I sit at that stoplight until I can take a safe left-hand turn out into the intersection.
I don't know if we have any control over the situation with Walmart, because that's part of a development.
Oh, that is?
Yes.
Okay.
That came in with a that's coming in with the development over where the old rest area was.
And actually, the stoplight getting put in by Walmart may make it easier to take a left-hand turn at O'Keefe, because it
stops the traffic.
Might break the traffic.
That's what I was
could
thinking.
interval the traffic so that you get a break, whereas today they don't get a break.
Right.
I agree, and industrial kind of
completely.
breaks it up too, so I think that's the break that we need is, and I kind of cut down there occasionally myself on O'Keefe, and I don't go over the speed limit though, and
Yeah.
but industrial does break the traffic nicely, so over there but this is only a block away from there, so I think that would be kind of an odd placement for a stoplight. I mean, we don't want people sitting at stoplights, all the time. But
And you'd
That
have,
the three of us agree tonight.
you'd have a stoplight every 4 blocks, because
Well,
then
we
you would
could,
have one on
but-
O'Keefe,
Well, you
you'd
do
have
on
one at
Carmichael
Walmart, you'd
too,
have
though,
one at-
because we do
you'd
have so
one at
much
Carmichael,
traffic.
you'd have one-
That's state regulated too, most of that. There's a whole bunch of little.
I know, it's a,
So the
But no.
question is speed on O'Keefe then, is I think what we're talking
Well,
about.
here's what happens with speed. Marty, you want to speak on the whole speed thing?
The speed on O'Keefe, because the way the road is designed, is considered an outlying district. Under state statutes, it's designated for 35 miles an hour. The city can change that, but to do that, you're gonna have to get a traffic engineering study, which is gonna cost you a few $1,000s to have it done. And they might come back and say, well, that road is designed for 35 miles an hour. So, I know the problem she's talking about on Webster Street. For some reason, people either don't stop, or we've had some really
I'm there all the
bad
time.
accidents at that intersection. But it's not from failure of lights, sightage or anything else. It's just people not paying attention and either running the stop sign or thinking that they can make it across and they don't.
Yeah.
Would it be safe to say that it would be easier to try putting a stop sign in on O'Keefe then and stopping people always?
You can't stop,
No.
put a stop sign on O'Keefe. On the thoroughfare, like.
Or just slowing them down then, I guess. They did build the Mississippi Flats also on our road, and now the front of their homes actually face O'Keefe. So I guess if they have little ones out playing, and I've seen pedestrians trying to make it down. Me personally, I go running with my daughter, and I actually go around Namakagon Road and down to the sidewalk where I can get to the trails safely, and then I loop around back, but it's still hard to get back to my house across O'Keefe when people aren't slowing down and paying attention. They don't, go around and make room for pedestrians at all. In fact, I saw someone on their little motorized chair the other day trying to make it down O'Keefe. I just would like to try to slow people down a little bit. I mean, I know maybe the stop signs and whatever are unrealistic, but I don't think asking people to slow down a little bit is too much.
How much is this, the speed signs?
Why don't we put those are expensive. Why don't we put a speed trailer out there for a while and see what's going on?
We can put the speed trailer out there. My guys write a lot of traffic on that road. They do write a lot of tickets on it, especially for speed.
Well, how much are speed signs, I guess? We have the same problem on First Street, and people go really fast down First Street, especially when Second Street is full of congestion. They take a right heading south, and they go, it's gotten better, I'm not sure why, but it's still, they're just gonna go fast. So I've noticed, and I think it's documented, that speed signs typically, when we've got one on,
Fine.
And I think that's helping. So I don't know, I was just curious to know what it costs.
Well, I'm just going off the top of my head. I'm gonna say somewhere between $2,500 and $4,000,
Okay.
depending on what kind of unit you get. But
Can
I
we-
can do some research on that.
Can we do some data on this and get the speed trailer out there? I know you guys are out there a lot, but just some more consistent data.
Okay.
And see what's going on first. Everyone okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Well, and I was going to say, I'm sure that my husband and I would be willing to donate some money towards things, or I could get my neighbors to, put something else out there too. But I just really think that, we all have little kids, and I just, the semis go by and engine brake, and I know they're not going 35 miles an hour, so
Yeah, they're engine braking. So, well, the speed trailer will help the police department document the speed, each car, how many cars are going by and how fast they're going, which will help us determine the best solution going forward, if there is one.
Okay. I just was thinking, and another thing too, I just wanted to say that I haven't called the cops and asked them to patrol anymore because I felt like, well, those are all just temporary solutions, and I just would like something more permanent. And I know that putting the sign up for 25 isn't going to say that everybody's going to go 25, but it will maybe encourage them to slow down and be more cautious.
Right. The problem is to put the sign up to 25, to put it to 25 miles per hour, we'll have to do a traffic study, which is going to take longer than us taking a speed trailer and maybe putting a sign like John is suggesting for people to slow down. Traffic study will have to go with the engineer. And they'll have
Typically, people will go over the speed limit at 25. It seems that the only thing that modifies behavior is the actual speed sign, so.
we can't just change the speed limit on that road. We would like to just be able to, but we're not, state statute prohibits us from just changing it.
Okay, so you'll put up the sign, and then where do we go from there?
Well, we're going to put up the speed trailer so we can document what's going on. And then from there, we'll bring it back to safety and discuss what options we have, if we want to go into a traffic study, or if we want to look at a sign that blinks when you're going over the speed limit, you know, that's what he's talking about, or if there's nothing at all that can be done. I mean, we'll look at all the options again. We're not closing our minds to it. We just have to want to document it and then see where, you know, we're not closing the door on the issue at all.
No, that's okay. It's just, it's hard because you know, it'll be 11 o'clock at night and I've had kids like drag race down the road and
they do
stuff,
it down
so.
Hanley too. My backyard is to Hanley and they
And I'm
drag
like,
race.
it's at dark and it's at night, but I'm like, it's the fact that they still just take the opportunity of no stoplights and go
Yeah.
for it.
So
Oh,
that's
make the call.
the best. I think that's right now the
Make
best
the police call.
route to take.
Okay.
So I don't think we need a motion to that. Or do you have anything to input, Rich? We're good.
Bring it back next.
So let's bring it back to the next public safety meeting, please.
If you hear them drag racing and stuff and doing all that, or make the 911 call. Not gonna hurt you.
I thought of photographing their vehicles.
They get a squad up there.
That works. That works.
One of the Hondas has an entire like missing rear
They got
panel,
some,
no bumper.
it's probably only a couple people doing it, you know, kids.
Yeah.
Make the 911 call and have them come on, send squad.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
You'll address it again
At the next public safety meeting, which is the first, oh my gosh, help me out, people.
Thursday in June.
First Thursday, the 6th,
Correct.
6th of June.
Thank you.
There were two issue sheets on that. One was
Yes, the stoplight, I think we all agreed that because of the Walmart stoplight, it's a dead issue.
Take no action on it.
No action.
All right, and then bring back the speed request. All right,
Yep.
very good.
Look at that, we finally agreed, everybody. All right, and Tim, sorry. Thanks for your patience. Consider amendment to automatic aid agreement with Roberts Warren Fire Department.
I'll bring this back again. This has been to council before with no much success, but since then, discussion with the mayor and Tim and the Joint Fire Advisory Board, the town of Hudson has agreed to pay for those calls on a 5-year run average, the same as the rest of the contract, where we go to the town of Warren. The sample that was put out, and I didn't know what year it was in your packet exactly, but Devin had put together a sample of 12, 10, what it does for 12, 10, 8, and 6 calls a year average at the town of Warren. The 12 calls per year makes about an $8,000 expense to the town of Hudson, but it gives the city back
6,400.
yeah, 6,400. Because those runs then they get split up amongst the other entities that each get a credit.
And that's every year.
Yep.
Right.
And is this amendment, is this agreement, how long is it, how long is it for? Is it yearly that gets looked at again?
No,
Or is we gonna do it 5 years, is it indefinitely?
It's indefinite.
Okay.
Warren Fellow City Council or the advisory board or whoever decides they no longer want to do this.
Anybody have input?
No, I'm good with it.
I think it's good. Good
All
thing
right.
to work with.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the revised automatic aid with Roberts Warren Fire Department.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
That's still got to go to council.
Still has to go to
Yeah.
council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think this is equitable.
Yeah.
We should be paying for it. And the council agrees, we've already agreed.
Yeah, I think, I have a good feel, you got 3 of us here, so, you got 3 of us agreeing, so that's a good thing.
When the Alan called me, don't be mad at us. No, it makes sense. We should be paying for those calls.
Yeah. So with
So
3,
part of the 5-year average every year.
with 3 of us agreeing, I think you guys are, it should be, since I was one of the ones who didn't agree last time, I think you've turned a corner, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yep.
I'm having a night.
That was your last night. What's up with that?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. All right. What are we on, 10? Update on lighting on Carmichael Road.
I talked to Tom Zulli and Chuck Burlock, and they ended up talking to XL Energy. And XL is going to, and I believe they've already done this, they've increased the wattage bulb that's in there right now.
Can we clarify?
It's max as it can be. And then they're turning the arm a little bit more towards that intersection to see if it brings up more lighting.
This is the intersection, just so people know, the south intersection by the middle school.
Correct. By it'd be off that walking path.
Yeah.
To see if that increases the lightage that is at that crosswalk.
Do we have a sign now in the middle of that crosswalk?
There is a yield sign out in that crosswalk. The other piece of information that Tom gave me is that if that is not enough lighting, they can put up they call it plastic or fiberglass light pole and put a light on it. And he estimated about $1,200 to do that. And they would just put it right near that intersection or that crosswalk to give it enough lighting to do it.
Okay.
So those are the options. But now with the weather getting nicer and the sun staying up later, you gotta wait until it gets pretty dark before you see it.
It's a winter. The bigger problem is in the winter, and you can't have the cones in the middle of the crosswalk in the winter because the plows can't then plow. So kids crossing the street to go to the middle school, or there's been some near hits. I don't know if anyone's been hit. I think
no one's been hit there.
But there's been near hits, and I've received some interesting phone calls and some interesting pictures at 7 a.m. in the morning. So it's
dark during congested periods.
Well, because it's winter, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's the problem. So I suppose if let's work with the lighting and see what we can do. I think that's a good idea, and then we'll revisit it. Gosh.
September.
Let's go back to that November meeting again, right? That's when we're revisiting October. And let's do it is it going to be dark
by
in
that
October?
time, well, isn't it the last weekend in October? Isn't that when daylight
Daylight
savings?
savings. That's why the November meeting is what I was thinking. Yeah. Let's revisit it. Bring it back at the November meeting, please.
The other issue is that if we wait too long and the ground gets frozen,
I know.
we might not be able to put that pole in.
We should do it in October.
If we do it, is it counterproductive if it's not dark though?
Oh, I see. You want to actually see the light.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't we just simulate that somehow? Let's put on dark glasses.
No, we could actually test it at night.
Yeah, should you drive by after
Gosh.
Mary, you be the crosswalk and I'll drive
Seriously,
through.
put it on the October meeting and we will simulate it exactly what John's saying because seriously think outside the box tonight. I mean, come on. We'll just test it at an evening at dusk or dawn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It does get dark at night.
We do still see nighttime. Okay, so that's what we'll do. But can we test it in September? Who would do the testing on that? How do we do that? You and Tom?
We can.
Can you get in September, simulate that?
We'll take a look at it and see what
Yep.
comes up.
And so that we can have an October meeting with information. Perfect. All right. Well, there you go. That works. Good thinking, John.
It happens occasionally. Not that often.
All right. Update on the outdoor warning siren. Do you have anything or?
We're working on it because they're running into if we're gonna relocate it where, and then that's kind of the holdup we're at right now.
And the one from White Camp or?
No, the one from the White Camp one. Yep. So if that was going to be the one that's going to be relocated, where's it going to go? Sound tests, and then how much as to where it's going to be.
Okay.
So we're
next
working.
month?
He's hoping to get it back. He was hoping to actually have it tonight, because they've been working on it the last little bit, trying to get everything situated. But he didn't have it to me before I came up here today. So
Can't we put it on the water tower property up there or something?
That's White Camp.
That's White Camp.
That's where it is.
Oh, okay.
He did want me to stress. He said, everybody wants to be able to hear the siren while inside their homes, but it's not the design.
Right. It's supposed to be outside.
And he's been stressing that, and he kept saying that to me over and over again, is that if the issue of people hearing outside isn't the issue, then there is no problem. And that the weather radios are what is the design for then at that point, which are $20, $30 that you can put in your house, because the outside part is to get you inside, the inside part is then to go from there.
Well, we get constant alerts I get alerts on my phone all the time for weather and stuff, so it's.
And he just wants to make sure too. I mean, I've been working with him. He's been very good. Ernie over at American Signal, he's been very good about it. He said, I just don't want you guys to pay for something that's not real necessary if there's not a problem.
Yeah, we're trying to do something which they're not designed for.
Yep.
And they're not supposed to do.
And that's what he's been stressing, but he's
I don't know why they're doing
been working, but he's been trying to figure it out anyway just to get the numbers, but
Did you go to Hudson Meadows and stand outside when did you hear it?
I heard it outside.
You did hear it outside?
Yep, I heard it outside.
When were you testing that? Because I
Need
heard
to-
some sirens downtown.
It's always the first Wednesday of the
So
month.
when was
First
blown?
Wednesday.
First Wednesday of the month at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Always.
No, it was a different time of day.
Oh, and then something.
Oh, the Friday, that one Friday a couple weeks ago was during the snowstorm was National Tornado Week, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm like,
they were
what's this-
sounding
why
up
is
for
the siren
alarms.
going off?
Yep, that was a drill, it was a big drill, but they had to postpone
Well, I
it
could
one
hear
day
it.
because of snowstorms, so.
Nice.
Kind of entertaining, but.
Well, Hudson Meadows is, with the highway over it, I thought it was difficult to hear it outside. Maybe I don't know.
I heard it, but my kids hate me because I have good ears too, and I know exactly what they're doing, so I don't know.
Well, and not everyone is under 40.
I resent that.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I'm just not of that.
I'm just
Wait a minute,
saying.
I'm over 40.
I'm just saying. There's some people who cannot hear.
Pick
you
an
know.
age like 70. We're not all.
I don't have those eagle ears or whatever they're called. So.
I still have to say, I think we're trying to do something that they're not designed to do.
You
They're
might
not-
be
they're
right.
not made for it.
And you might be right. And
If
it's,
you're gonna do something, then go buy a great big $100,000 siren and you can hear it everywhere. It'll blow you right out of your house if that's what you wanna do. That's not what they're intended to do, so I don't know what we're working on.
I thought the original deal was that the hill that divided south of the interstate east and west was creating a sound
Right.
issue. That if you're on one side, you can't hear it as nearly as well, even outside, as you could. So if it was up on the hill,
the issue was that people weren't hearing it out when they were outside.
But the study she did with decibels said that they're at the reasonable
Yes,
level to be
but
heard outside, so.
the decibel
they've done a
study-
to do what it's supposed to do, and it says it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Right, but decibel studies don't take into account semi-traffic and they're Highway 35.
They took the test during traffic, they didn't stop traffic to take the test.
No, but they're piping out the decibels.
Okay.
No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the decibels they're piping out at the decibel it's supposed to pipe out at, but it doesn't mean it can be, heard across.
Can you just send us that cool map that they did the last time? Didn't they do a sound map and we
Yep.
just kind of take a look at it one more time? And
Yeah, it's not that, we might not take any action. It's just we got to figure out if we're in the best situation or not. It's just what I'm, This has been happening for 2 or 3 years. We've been working on this.
Well, and then
so
his other
it's just
concern is
coming to an end.
where the other one is gonna go, and is it gonna be even beneficial to do it, is the other, and that's the other thing that's taking so long, is he's trying to find a place that is gonna be beneficial then
Right.
to relocate then as well.
And if it's not beneficial, it has to be beneficial for the whole situation. I mean.
And how are you gonna determine beneficial? Is it gonna be beyond the decibel levels that you currently have, which the siren isn't capable of doing?
No, but maybe if it were up closer, maybe if it were somewhere in Heritage Greens right before 35, like somewhere there, or somewhere in the industrial park, maybe in the, we have to stay in the city limits, maybe in the industrial park where old vet land. I don't know, but
there was a sound map. That's what I'm referring to.
That's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I just wanted to see the updated version. If they were a recommended site, how would it look much different? And if it doesn't, then I guess.
And that's what he's working on, getting all that stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's just an update, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just an update, and I'll admit it. I have no problem admitting I have a little bit of a soft spot for Hudson Meadows because they're like the island of the city, and now everyone forgets about them. So,
In the words of some other alderperson, it's not my district,
Yeah. So.
I'm joking.
Your district got re-sirened.
Yeah, your district got re-sirened.
We love it.
So you could hear it on the river. Let's just stick with the agenda item. All right, so we'll just put it on for next month and let's see what the maps look like, and we just want to make sure that we're doing all we can. That's all that really my motive is right now. So, all right. Thank you. Okay. Now, review capital costs. Alan, our mayor asked us to re-review our capital costs. I think public safety has stayed very conservative with our requests. If anybody disagrees with me on this,
I
please
thought we were way,
speak.
I thought we were right on the money, frankly. Comparatively speaking, I thought it was a very conservative estimate, so I was pleased, frankly.
Except for the public safety building.
That's right.
Right.
I misunderstood that. I thought that the administration was going to do that as a capital cost.
Me too.
And so I think we should put the new
Year
safety
5.
building, just put it out there.
Yep, it should be out at
Let's
year
not
5.
forgotten, and we have something that we can look at.
We're 2 years away from year 5.
Hey man, we only are allowed to go out that far. That's what we were
The only
told.
reason I think we should start considering a little bit sooner is that
2017.
we've got like a $1.2 million fire engine that we're looking at in year 5, so.
Yep.
Well, and as far as the discussions of the public safety building, is there some designs of, just for my getting up to speed here, sharing with all services, or will it be a satellite office or a main office for the police, or, I mean, what was the original?
Well, the original, when they did the feasibility study, they did come out with some they were very, very basic designs, and they did have police, fire, and EMS in one, and they just had police in one, and I'm not sure if they had a third option, but they had several options, and that's why I think you see some of these costs that are sitting here. And that'll be something that'll have to be decided of. If you're going to build a public safety building, is it gonna be housing all 3 units? Is it gonna house 1.5? Because.
Or is
still
it going
have
to
to-
be a campus type thing?
Well, we still have to obtain land for it. I mean,
Right.
this is why I said put it down to 2017, because we still have to acquire land. We still have to build it.
Well,
We'd probably, I mean, it's not like we can do it next year.
given the nature of how cities grow and where we're at, and that we're a constantly growing environment, does it make more sense to have more public safety buildings, smaller ones that aren't quite so, because they'll have better coverage over time, or do you have one giant building where travel time is,
Well, then you have to have double the equipment, or no?
No. Well, you just spread it out.
Yeah.
yeah, you right. So response to, I don't know, I was just thinking kind of, more like, I know 5 years is a concern, but 20 years from now, look at what we've done in at least the last 10 years for growth. It's been significant, so.
Well, maybe what we should do is land acquisition should be at 2015, and the build-out should be at 2017.
Well, I know there's been some initial discussion with the county on having a joint building and using property south of the current government center. I know that then those are initial discussions.
Just discussion.
Those are, and sharing it with the county because they have a desire or a need also to expand.
To a jail.
I thought they were gonna expand the sheriff's department.
Is that what it
I
is?
think that's what they were thinking, and because of the 911 center being expanded, and they're gonna need more room, and so, and those were just very initial discussions, but
Yes.
then the land would be up
Yep.
on the county land south of the government center.
Yep.
Nothing definite, just initial
Just
discussions.
discussion. So,
Well,
go ahead, Jim, please.
Along with the ladder truck, if there's not a facility built, we'll have to do building modifications over here to get the new ladder truck in there. The new trucks are at least 12 feet tall, and the drain pipe that's in there is only about 11.6. For the rough drains, so the rough drain piping would have to be modified in a manner, means tear up the floor and whatever, just so you're aware of that.
Tear up the floor or the roof?
No, tear up the floor, you'd have to get the roof drains
Oh, yeah.
rerouted a different
Yeah.
way so that.
So, I don't think it's unrealistic if we're gonna, I mean, this is supposed to be a 5-year plan, so land has to be acquired first. And so I think if we acquire it in 1 year at one cost, and then build in another year at another cost.
It'll take a year for building plans and.
Well, yeah, that's why if we
stuff.
acquire it 2015 and have the build out 2016, and it'll be ready by 2017, 5-year plan.
Perfect.
Yeah. And how much money do we?
5-year wish list.
Yeah, exactly.
How much money do we use for land
Well,
purchase?
You know what? You know what?
Bullshit,
You know what?
150 grand.
They asked us to put it in, so we're putting it in. We're shooting darts. I mean, we have no idea what land purchase is going to be. We don't know what they were going to what is that land worth? $3 million? I have no idea what that land is worth.
No, it's not worth.
I don't know. I don't know what they were going to give it to the school for.
The reason I
if the
say
school
that
wanted
is
it.
that it's already owned, it's already public land, so I don't know if,
Well, it's zoned public, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, they can sell it for whatever, they own it. If we want to buy it, they can put whatever price tag they want on there.
however they want to use part of the land as
Right.
theoretically as part of their own,
Right.
for their own purposes, so.
Right.
The land may or may not be as big a deal, plus we're part of the county population, so it could be kind of,
That would be a nice thought, but I don't know if that would. I think we should estimate we should estimate conservatively. Like, if it is 3 million and we get it for 1.5, great. You know what I'm saying?
well,
You don't want to underestimate.
so should it be a combined police, fire, and EMS location?
Personally, EMS doesn't like fire or PD, so we'd like our own.
You want your own building? Across the street, hot tub, that kind of stuff, right?
There's a couple sheds over in the
Facility.
It sounds good.
So it'll be 5 million for EMS and 2 million for the fire and police.
Deal. Deal.
Actually, I think EMS and fire could get by with about 3 to 4 million.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being serious.
Okay, so EMS and fire at 3 to 4 million for a build out. What would police need for a build out?
For a build-out?
If we're going to build a building, I mean, you just got
I'm
to.
gonna say right around that
8 million here?
$10 million
For the
dollar
police
range.
department alone?
No, combined, just combined, right?
Well, remember, these are the costs back in 2009 or 10, when the economy was,
Right, but for the
Really
police
low.
department alone, you think you need 8 million?
well, you see the building we're in right now, that 19,000 square feet?
Yeah.
That's something about what we would need. Because we've got to have the office space, we've got to have the storage space, we've got to have the garage space. And we're also looking, if we're going to build the campus, we'd like to have our impound lot there so that we can, not have to have it way down at the other end where we can't secure anything.
And
So are we talking 10 million?
like for fire, at least the land acquisition to start with, we'd like to be able to have an area for training. Now we have to use a vacated street or whatever right now, or
Parking lot or wherever.
parking lot or whatever we can get a hold of.
So should we estimate 2 million for land purchase in 2015 and 10 million for a build out, or 12 million for a build out for an all encompassed public safety building, all encompassed, all three?
You're talking 15 million bucks. Excuse me.
Well, I'm talking
Land and everything.
13 million.
This original combined
15
estimate
million.
at 8.4, it does not include land, is that true?
That's true.
That's true, it's just a
Okay.
build up for the thing.
Got it.
And that was years, I mean, am I?
No, I think that sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
If he's gonna need 4 and 8, there's 12.
yep. So
And
we'll say
are you calling this a 20-year building, a 50-year building, or a 100-year
it's
building?
gonna be as till the Hudson no longer exists, this is it. I'm just kidding.
This is it.
I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, if they're looking at a permanent structure, that building was built in 1976, so I mean, you're looking at a 30-year, at least a 30-year,
36 years, I'm 37, sorry, so
Well, that's
So it would be a 50-year facility, no problem. I mean,
Yeah.
if we put combined facilities in.
and depend upon, obviously, growth, there may be need down the road.
The
Where the
benefit with
community
having
grows.
a joint campus is that there's certain areas that we can all use the same.
Right.
Training facilities, locker facilities. If you decide to have a workout area so that all three can, you maintain, you can come, that you can save on those costs versus
Got it.
having them all over the place, so.
So I estimated 15 million, was that my math? So we'll say 2 million in 2015 and 12 million, or, sorry, 13 million in 2016.
That'd be about right.
That's what we're gonna do. That's what they wanna see.
Yep, I think that's what we should do.
Okay, I'm with you.
Put it out there.
Yay,
I think it needs to get out there.
yes. So there we
Well,
go.
right, if,
And as far as everything else we did, I have no desire to switch anything. I don't wanna make any cuts. So if anybody else has a strong desire to cut something, we're gonna move on.
no, I went over it more than once, and I felt it was a very good estimate that we put forth the first time. So.
Okay, so we're sticking, go ahead.
I do have a comment. I see you took out funding for a vehicle next year in the 2014.
Yes.
Am I gonna be allowed to pay my firefighters mileage then for training and stuff?
I think we have that now, and there's car rental depending how far you
Well,
go.
usually they're, say New Richmond, Baldwin, you know, their evening classes or whatever.
I believe so.
Right.
But those, that's,
I just wanna
believe
make
so.
sure.
See, the key word is believe there,
So,
just so you know.
I just don't want it to be an issue when it turn in my.
Right, we can talk about that,
Okay.
see what, I think that would make sense though. If you're going for a training, you get reimbursed mileage, but
And if not, the chairman of the
support that.
safety committee will reimburse him.
I would,
Okay.
I would reimburse them, yes, out of my husband's account. Okay, so. All right, so that's good. We're good? Moving on. EMS, fire department, police department updates. Okay, let's go with EMS right now. Kim, anything?
Not much. We got our new full-time paramedic that started the 1st of May, so we're excited to have her, and we got all of our protocols approved with our medical director, so we're excited. We got some new stuff coming up, some new protocols with strokes and stuff that's going to make Hudson Hospital a really good partner, strong partner with us, which is going to be good. And we're also working with them on some grant stuff too, so we're hoping that's going to kind of play out a little bit. But other than that, that's about it.
Okay. Fire.
Just a couple items. Remind everybody our fire department golf tournament's June 3rd. We're looking for whole sponsors at $100 $100 a hole, and they'll get their sign advertisement there for that. We're also looking for golfers, and I believe the fee for golfing is $90. It includes a cart or half cart and dinner. We held interviews last night for account clerk 1. They have a candidate selected. I haven't been able to get in touch with her yet today, but that's moving.
Okay.
I can't wait for them to get back in there.
I'll sponsor a hole.
Where's the golf tournament at?
It's at Hudson.
Okay.
Hudson this year, so it'd probably be the last year at Hudson.
I'll sponsor it.
Okay.
I already checked tonight. Okay.
The Northwestern School of Staff and Command has finally graduated, so we've got our space back. That went very well. One of our squads is already completed. It's on the road. It's a clean top. It's up and running. The other one should be coming out, I hope, if not tomorrow, it'll be beginning of next week.
Nice.
So we should have them out on the road.
These are the SUVs, right?
No, these are the Tauruses. So we went with the Tauruses.
That's right.
We might be going back to the SUVs, especially because there's no room in the Tauruses. They're cramped.
Just never happy.
Well, try to put somebody gym size in the back of that Taurus. You'd be fighting them just to get them in the back of the car. Those things are small. There's not a lot of space in them. So,
That's
but we've
good.
got
Then
them
they
out
can't
on the
mess
road.
around back there. They're stuck.
Right, exactly. So, and then I just want to, I don't know if you got your invitations, the council, I know we sent it to the mayors for the next week is Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Week. We have the second annual St. Croix County Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Ceremony will be next Tuesday night, the 14th at 6 o'clock at the Hudson High School Auditorium. It's open to the public. Anybody who wants to come is more than welcome to come there. We're going to, programs maybe 40-45 minutes, and then we're going to have refreshments afterwards, some coffee, punch, cookies, and that kind of stuff. So
May 14th, 6 p.m. Hudson High
May
School.
14th, 6 p.m. at Hudson High School. It'll be in the auditorium. So our guest speaker is the U.S. Marshal for Western Wisconsin, Dallas Neville. Is going to be the guest speaker. So
is that everything?
Just to update you guys now, we have a Roberts Middle School that burned.
Mm-hmm.
We have the students all out now at the Girl Scout camp. It's all up and running. The systems are up and going, the sprinkler system and everything, because the Girl Scout camp was vacant for a couple of years.
Okay.
And they're using it, and I met with the principal the day before yesterday out there, and he is quite pleased. So it's working good for Roberts.
Yeah.
And we're glad we have it. That facility is in our fire district.
Good.
And we're also going to start firehouse tours of the kids from the various schools, middle to the end of May here. They'll do EMS, they'll do fire, and they'll do city. So
Great.
it's the time of year we get the children all
Nice. All right. Informational items updated on,
Excuse me,
go
I
ahead.
have one more thing that I thought of. I've been receiving a few complaints around the city about people burning their yard waste. Reminder for those individuals, yard waste is not acceptable to be burnt. There are methods in which to get rid of it, and burning isn't one of them. The burning ordinance is meant for recreational firewood only, dry wood only.
Thank you. All right. Informational items, updated unpaid parking fines.
I paid mine.
Credit Data Bureau sent out approximately 1,063 letters here in the last month, just over the last month, in regard to collecting fines from 2007 to 2012. I talked to the representative, and as of the end of last week, they were just under $12,000 they've collected so far towards the city.
And our debt was 60.
And our debt was 63,000. So we've cut about a little less than a third of that down. So we are getting a lot of people calling in. We are getting a lot of people paying their fines, and not only their fines, but the penalties that went on top of them. So it's actually worked out pretty good.
Good.
So.
Good. All right. Updates for future agendas. Items for future agendas. Anyone?
Crosswalk on the south side of First and Walnut.
Crosswalk on the south side of First and Walnut. Okay.
We have one on the north side, but we don't have one on the south side.
Yeah, we were gonna bring that back. I had brought that up last year. I thought we painted one. No, we've already approved that. Tom just hadn't painted it yet
Yeah.
because we went into winter.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think, it just hasn't been painted yet.
Oh, you
I
got
thought
a
we
good
had done
memory
that one.
because
No, I remember that. But
Yeah, it was late and,
it was like last October, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last year. We approved it.
Tom said we're done painting, so they were gonna paint it this spring. We might have to remind him, but that's fine.
yeah, we'll just remind Tom then.
And I have a conflict with the June 6th meeting, so I will not be here.
Cool. What about you?
I'm here, yeah.
You sure about that?
Yes, I am.
A little nervous there.
No, I'm here.
Okay, because the following week, well, I'm still here the following week that day if we needed to push it back. Do you want to push it back?
It's up to you.
Is everyone here on the 13th?
I just have a meeting that I can't change, and that's at Mayo. And I
Yeah,
don't
of
have a
course.
lot- I don't have a lot of choice.
Yeah,
down
yeah.
there.
How about June 13th? Could June 13th work? If we push it back a week?
I think so.
Check your calendars.
I also wanted to bring up, is it County Road F and Cooley Trail?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard, it gets very congested before and after school, and it's hard to even, there's a police officer there, however, traffic is very slow to move and hard to turn, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if we need to just take a look at it or what the deal is.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I already had public safety on for June 13th in June. I don't know why.
That would probably be the normal.
It's not the normal there.
Oh, the 6th should be the normal. I just have it on the wrong date.
They've been, I thought
Thursday
they've
after
been,
council.
Only because, so yeah,
Because of the
I
elections
won't be
and all that
golfing
screwed everything
thing.
up. Okay, so can we do June 13th? Hello?
Yep.
You guys all have digital technology in front of you, except Rich.
My
Rich
phone
has
is
paper.
slow. I'm sorry. I upgraded to ice cream sandwich and now
As
it's
of right
Is it,
now.
is it an iPhone?
No,
Just checking.
no, but I'll have an iPad soon.
As of right now, I'm available, but I'm not, obviously, that might be one of the last days of school, so I know the 12th is, but not sure what kind of.
Right now, I'm
issues
good.
we're gonna have.
Okay, well, let's set it for the 13th
Alright.
instead. So whoever we inform tonight to come back June 6th, we need to switch that to June 13th. That was the pedicabs and the speed limit. Sorry, what were you saying, John?
County Road F and Cooley Trail by Rivercrest. I've had a couple people mention it gets very congested.
Okay.
This is probably a school time issue. And so I'm not exactly
And
sure
that whole
what-
area is city.
That's still,
Yeah, I know the road is, but
Where the school is a city, but where the
the road, I think is county.
That's what
I
I'm-
think the intersection's county.
Got
So
it.
it's-
Yeah, I
that's what
wasn't
I
sure
thought.
either, so, okay.
I'll double check on it,
Double
but I
check.
believe the intersection belongs to the county.
I
Fair
think
enough.
so too. Anything else?
The only thing I have is, and maybe Marty knows, maybe doesn't even have to go, is there a generator for City Hall?
They were working on one. I know they had tested one of the old ones from the old jail to plug it in down here.
Portable one.
Yeah.
Every department got a portable
Right.
one that comes out.
We don't have one here, and with the power outage that we just had, all of our crews were stuck in the dark.
Oh.
And the garage doors then didn't open for our chase vehicles.
That's not good.
I mean, they got out, it wasn't that, obviously with the releases, but they didn't know until they got up because I think it was the middle of the night when the power went out, so.
We had
Okay.
power across the street.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the power across the street was fine, it was
Generator
just the
worked
stuff
there.
here. So, and I don't think there's floodlights either, so
There used to be floodlights down there.
they weren't working. They said there weren't any
Not
lights
to
down
sound
there.
goofy, but don't they have one of those little strings you could pull it?
Yeah,
right by?
they got that.
Okay,
So that wasn't I mean, they eventually got out once they
Lights, though.
figured it out, but there wasn't any lights downstairs then either for them to
Okay.
see. And we had crews that were down here because it was a pretty busy night that we have crews here that stay.
So we can,
I know that's been talked about. Is
Why don't we
trying to
put it
get some
in?
type of generator down here.
we can't do anything about it right now, so let's put it on the next agenda. Anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Longest meeting I've ever conducted.